Your views, my facts, begins in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, fact checkers, to Your Views and My Facts. Thomas John in the den. I've got Rich as well in here, co-host.
Good
Viper.
morning.
Good morning, my friend. Well, technically afternoon.
Dang it, we just missed the morning, huh?
Yeah, we just missed the morning rush, the morning wood.
Yeah, that went away long ago.
Yeah, we weren't in the same room, mind you.
Who's to say?
I'm to say. I'm to say, because it's my facts.
Sometimes.
Mostly. But, so here we are. It's now 2018. We haven't been in the studio for a little bit. We had some episodes that we were able to release for over the holidays while everybody was out, doing their own thing. But, yeah, it's good to be back in here.
It is. I thought maybe we'd have to knock off some rust, but so far it feels pretty good. This sort of reminds me of when it's a cold night outside and you just enter a bar and it's slightly warm.
Yeah.
And you're about to get some good alcohol and you all of a sudden run into friends. That's what it's like being back on the podcast.
Yeah, it's a nice warm, fuzzy feeling. And what it makes me want to do is, just make this studio even better than what it is, though.
What are your ideas?
Well, I want to get new mics.
Really? These are pretty good.
Yeah, I know, but I want better.
You want like ones that have gold plating on it?
Essentially.
So like Trump mics.
Rush Limbaugh mics.
Yeah, those are like the best.
Really piss people off, when we start doing the videos for them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've been here in the office, the den, right? But it's in my office, and I just feel like we can make it feel like even more, studio.
I mean, we got to do it before we do start doing live video.
I agree, and so, but I don't know if do we leave it in this room or do we take it someplace else, right? And I mean, I really only have two other locations, in my house would be right outside on the loft, or setting up a spot in the garage.
It's too bad it's not easy just to move these things where we could just have a traveling show.
Oh, I agree.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Well, you get me a nice bag, and then, you could break all this stuff down, I'm sure, just throw it together.
How long would it take you to throw it all back together? Like the plugs and whatnot.
Oh, I mean, are they already out of the bag?
Yeah, sure.
Less than 5 minutes.
Oh, damn. We should do a traveling show.
I mean, because it does take that. Yeah, I mean, because you don't have to like route them, the way that I have them, kind of strung through the mic stands, right? It's just plug them in, let them go, right? And life is what it is, but it's trying to find a bag large enough for the actual mixer and so forth.
So let me ask you this question, young Thomas John.
7.
I mean, that's always a good answer. It's a biblical one. So, that's cool. So 2018, what are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? And what's your big prediction? What's the biggest splash of 18?
Ooh. All right. What am I not looking forward to in 2018?
Start with the negative.
I am not looking forward to the midterms.
Okay. You're fearful?
Fearful wouldn't be the word. I mean, because I don't... there's no fear. I know that nothing's going to hurt me, but I would hate to, because we're already in a stagnated state with the administration trying to push things through, losing either one or both of the houses is going to hurt us. Is that the right term for the Senate too?
Yeah, no,
the chambers.
Yeah, the bicameral chambers, yeah.
So that's what I would be not looking.
I think most experts are saying we'll keep the Senate. The Republicans will keep the Senate.
Okay.
The House. So technically, historically, the president always loses the House in the midterm. His first midterm, it's like historical. But 2018 is going to be a far different year than normal midterm elections, just because, like, for the most part, actually, there are more Democratic House seats that are up for grab than Republican. And I believe in order for the Republican Party to lose their majority, the Democrats would have to take 28 seats and also keep all their House seats that they currently have. So with that said, it's still quite an uphill battle for the Democrats to take the House.
Well, I hope so.
Not to
Obviously.
mention the tax cuts become more popular now that people are seeing money back in their paychecks. And then I don't think people were thrilled with the way the Democrats handled the shutdown, just because in the end nothing was resolved. Immigration's still a mess, and all they did is they just frustrated the American people for 2 days.
That's true. Fuck DACA. So what I am looking forward to in 2018, I'm looking forward to a passing of the reciprocity bill.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, it may not pass, but that's what I'm looking forward to.
It passed in the House.
It did.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's got to be voted on in the Senate. Do you want to tell our fact checkers what the reciprocity bill is?
The reciprocity bill will allow individuals that have a concealed carry permit in one state for it to be valid in all other 49 states that are in the union, which is the way that it should be.
It's beautiful.
Because the driver's licenses work that way. So why would you allow something that is a privilege, be universal, but not one of our rights?
Completely makes sense.
It's crazy. And then the third thing that you were asking me is a prediction or a splash.
Yeah.
I would say that either we or North Korea is going to do the first salvo. Someone's
Really?
sending off the first volley. In some way or fashion. I'm not sure I'm not necessarily saying missiles, but something is going to make a trigger to where there will be no more like cloak and dagger or smoke and mirrors. I mean, we're basically going to say, all right, we're going to fuck you up now.
So no more diplomacy, huh?
Correct.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I'm leery on the Olympics right now. I'm still not fully convinced of the
Genuine, sincerity.
right of North Korea being part of it.
Could you imagine the Olympics going down and they send their athletes and then they're just like fuck it and they still hit the Olympics? They're like, whatever, we don't care about these athletes.
No, I can't see that. Look, I think that the athletes could be biological weapon carriers.
Oh, it sounds like a movie.
Look, if it happens, they didn't get the idea from me, okay? So it's not like I'm throwing things out here and it's like, oh my God. But anywho, so that's that. But so let's get into what we're going to be talking about today, which is safe spaces and the safety net that individuals need in today's society, because they cannot deal with any sort of ridicule,
Tension.
Yeah, tension. They can't take any sort of facts or non-facts, right? Basically, any type of dissent, they lose it. And so now you have to have, primarily on campuses, college campuses, and I'm sure some high schools are probably already going down this road too, but it's where you have rooms that you can go into, meditation rooms, right? They're bringing in, therapy dogs and whatever else that they need, right, to feel okay that, oh, I'm not being discriminated against, when it's not the way it's going to work in the real world. You're going to be screwed. So what's your take on it? Safe spaces.
Well, for me, obviously, I still go to college, right? So I graduate this April from a college here in Rockland, and I just think I do think it's ridiculous. Granted, I'm a millennial, right? I'm a Generation Y millennial, which means we're born between the year of 1985 and I think 95. That's the Generation Y. And so for me, I didn't grow up in the aspect of safe spaces, and I don't think anybody did prior to us. Just looking back at previous generations, I'm like, okay, the baby boomers clearly didn't need safe spaces, right? I mean, like those were like the protesters, just like protesting today. But the difference is like they protested things that were actually like probably relevant, and they probably, you know, civil rights and other things that are like actually for real, like important, and they weren't like pussies about it, you know, like they would like stand there. They would be intellectual when they would argue, most of them, if they weren't high. And if they were high, you know, like they seemed pretty chill for the most part. But, you know, you could counter them with like actual facts and logic. And I think they would at least soak it
not
in.
logic.
Yeah, nothing about reason, right? Or even like the Generation Xers, right? Like Generation X, I think, is at least my parents' generation. And for the Generation Xers, I definitely think they had like a anti-establishment, right? Like they're very anti-establishment, but there was no safe spaces for them.
Right.
There was no safe spaces for the Generation Ys. So I don't know what's going on with this Generation Z millennial group, but like if you say anything, it just sets them off, you know? Like anything that is not even radical by any means. Like if you disagree with what they're saying, or if you prove their point incorrect, all of a sudden you're attacking them, not the idea.
Well, one would argue that they're fighting for censorship.
They only want censorship on people that don't agree with them.
Right.
But they want to say whatever they want.
Of course they do. The irony is then, shouldn't we then be asking for safe spaces? And by we, I mean you and I, right? Those that, you know, can actually tolerate the bullshit. But they're making me feel bullied, Rich. I feel bullied by them.
Yeah, but so the problem with the safe space concept is the idea that free speech can hurt somebody, like that words can hurt. And honestly, like it goes back to the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me." Right? Like these kids feel harmed, they feel triggered. Like you can go into a class and you know they're like, "Oh, well, this and this." You're like, "No, that's not exactly true," and it like triggers them. You know, it's just like the Black Lives Matter movement, right?
Yeah.
Like wherever you stand on the movement, it doesn't matter, right? As soon as you start throwing out, well, you know, if Black lives truly matter, let's look on black crime. Let's look at the crime rate period, and let's see like where's there a breakdown, right? Like what is causing this? And as soon as you start spitting out like real numbers and facts, you trigger them, and they just go fucking ballistic.
Right, but I would even, but this is where I would want to be clear that you don't even have to be correct in your facts, though.
No, you don't.
Right, because they won't know one way or the other. Right, on whether you're saying it's real or it's not. So, I mean, we could take away, you know, like that we're attacking them on facts. They just don't want to hear any, as you said earlier, they don't want to hear anything that they don't agree with. And so I can clarify, because you know how I feel about getting things correct.
Sure.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Not harm me, hurt me.
All right.
Look, I didn't want a glad, proud situation going on here. That is a la our...
serial killers.
Was that? Yeah, serial killers episode. Download it if you want to understand what I'm talking about there. So
Little inside joke.
inside, but you can be part of the inside if you listen to the episode serial killers. So, anywho, yeah, I mean, all that these individuals that are you know trying to push the have a safe space agenda is you can now no longer get the information that you need, right, to hear a difference of opinion. And we are, by extension, I believe, moving this now towards the internet.
Yeah.
With, you know, you'll take Google and
Twitter now,
Twitter that are, I'll say supposedly, right, until a court case actually comes out of it and they could. I think it's true, but what they apparently are doing, right, are not limiting. What's the word that I'm looking for?
Well, for Twitter, they're going in and they're actually like blocking or hiding accounts, right, that they deem to be harmful or hateful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, Twitter is blocking and not allowing certain messages to get through,
and they're not notifying the user,
right? And Google manipulating, that's the word I was looking for. They are manipulating your search results to where you can't get a differing opinion back. And, you know, far be it from me to try to speak some gospel here, but how can you ever be educated on anything if you don't even know what the other side wants to discuss? You know, but yeah, they make it seem as if you put out information, right, that may convince somebody to think otherwise or give them facts, that you're going to lose them, which is not what one should be thinking when they're presenting that information, right? Because it should be out there. So, as we've said on the show multiple times, here's the left side, here's the right side, and or A, B, right? I don't mean political on that, but you figure it out, right? We're going to give you what we can give you, right? But you go online, you do the research. That way you can either solidify and help back up your points, or it might make you go, huh, I want to look into that. You know, like maybe that whatever subject X, I might think differently on. I mean, do we not grow? Right? I mean, the mind changes, and different things will get you to, right, think other things.
Gain insight.
Right. Yeah, no. I may not care what neighborhood I live in, right, when it comes to, per se, schools, but heaven forbid I have a kid, and I'm going to start caring then.
That definitely makes sense. So what do you think is the root cause to the safe space kids, like this society? Like, what is the underlying, like, where did it go wrong? Like, where did we make little Jimmy into a bitch?
You know, I don't know where it went wrong, and you know I like to go down the road of extremes and parallels and I guess borderline conspiracies, but I wouldn't put it past, you know, the collective thought of individuals that were doing poorly in school, mm-hmm. and then they started using bullying and not getting things their way, right, as an outlet as to why they were doing poorly in school. Does that make sense? Caliber, now is not the time to be doing that.
Yeah, no, I'm tracking on that.
Caliber, I'm going to put you in a safe space in a minute.
The kennel. We should put all the kids in the kennel.
All right, well, I'm going to lock you up here in a minute. No.
I'm not a safe space kid.
So, yeah, I know it's hard to comprehend that, and nobody, not for you, but nobody likes to think in those terms that, well, that's just asinine thinking, TJ. Like, how could you say that, oh, they were doing poorly in school, so they came up with an excuse? I think it's an easy goddamn connection I can draw. Because people, we naturally look for things to justify, right, or to take the blame off of us. So what better it wasn't a safe space per se when it started, mm-hmm. but it has evolved and developed, and it has turned into what we now say safe spaces, and anything that the extension is now speech.
Yeah,
right?
Oh yeah.
I guess is what I'm getting at, right? Because somebody would say, well, how would Milo going on to speak in Berkeley, how does that affect my grades, right? Well, that doesn't, but it's just the extension of, you are starting to lose it, though, as a person, like you just can't comprehend. You don't feel good. And so that's...
But isn't that life? Like, what life is ups and downs, so you're going to experience both good and bad. Like, you're going to be sad sometimes. You're going to be upset sometimes. It's life.
Oh, right. Well, and again, there are... What I don't like is how it's always tries to be pushed back onto everyone else, right? And they want all others to conform. Mm-hmm. So
that's their form of tolerance.
Yeah. And by all others, I'm referring to everybody that is in support of safe spaces. But I would ask you then, me going down my extreme parallel, mm-hmm. how nobody within the military, right? None of our troops serving overseas, and God bless their heart, hopefully they all come back home safely, but they don't just get to take a pause in the middle of the damn battlefield and say, wait, I don't like being shot at. I need a safe space. It doesn't work that way. And I don't, that's what I don't understand.
Technically, we have safe spaces. They're defensive fighting positions.
All right. Touche. But again, I get that was very extreme, but all I'm trying to show is that me as a person, as Thomas John, let me be my own thing. I won't push my values onto you and force you to have to conform to them. So I don't want you to conform to mine. That doesn't mean you have to get violent, right?
Or cry.
Or cry. Yeah, just and this. Like, why do you even go then to the building where somebody is going to speak that you don't want to hear? Just stay home. Go out and do something else. But all you're doing is just, continuing to fan the flames of anger. Mm-hmm. And then you get half the people out there that don't even give two shits. They don't even know what's going on. They're just anarchists, and they just want to burn shit down. It's nuts.
No, I mean, I definitely agree. I've thought a little bit about like where the root cause is, right?
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to get back to. So you'd ask me about the root cause. So go ahead, Rich. Your turn. Root cause.
So I actually think back to if I'm placing blame on anything, I'm placing the blame on the politically correct culture and social justice. Like you cannot point to safe space and these kids that are upset and not say that the problem comes from the concept of social justice, right? And for listeners that don't understand, the most basic form of social justice is that you are going to take something from somebody because you believe they have a privilege over you, and that will, by taking something from somebody, you are now creating equality, right? In a way, you are stealing something to create equality, whether it's money, whether it's thoughts, ideas, or rights, like that's social justice. And social justice is based on whoever feels offended. Like that's just the culture, right? So I do feel like since the mid to late 80s, I feel like America is slowly shifting towards a more politically correct culture. And don't get me wrong, like I don't think we need to be calling people like just chaotic, chaotic words, but we can have differing ideas. And if my idea upsets you, so fucking be it, like live with it, right?
Yeah.
So I think what it is initially we start slipping down this political correct culture, social justice culture, and then we're like, well, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't wear this at school, and it's only a matter of time before people start being set off and triggered in 2016, 2017, because they've gone to school, and in middle school, elementary school, even in high school, no one ever countered their thought, right? Like no one ever told them you cannot do this, or this is why that won't work. It was just never allowed in school. So now they're in college and they're not protected by, the public school system telling them like, hey, you can't tell somebody this. And they're shocked. Like they're just shocked. A lot of these kids grew up under the 8 years of Barack Obama where everything was PC. Like he went on an apology tour around the world saying how America is not exceptional, how America needs to be like every other nation in the world.
Right.
And I think that's like the culture these kids grew up in, or the idea that if like you don't believe what everybody else does, then you're the intolerant one. But really by forcing your thought process and your mindset, you are actually being intolerant because you're making people conform to thought. That's almost like a form of communism in a way, right? Without economics.
Agreed.
So that's where I place the blame. I place the blame on social justice. I place the blame on society and parents that are like, hey, you can't talk to my kid like that. Like, no, sometimes you need to tell them, like, hey, that's a stupid idea. Like these kids should have been shocked. And then, like, if you look at 2016's election, like, kids literally went to school the following day crying. Like, schools, like, shut down where, like, they're like, oh, you don't have to go to college.
Yeah.
Some kids protested taking, like, course exams. And then you have all these organizations pop up within the college community where they're like, yeah, come talk about your feelings. And like, I'll tell you at my school, they now have the diversified task force and they have the CARES program at school.
Wait. What you're telling me is they have the DTF?
Yeah. So they created a DTF, a diversified task force, that their job is to go on campus and go into class and see that if diversity is not being preached, that it needs to be. And anything that doesn't conform to what they consider to be diversity needs to be stopped. So now you've selected students and a couple faculty to decide what is allowed and what is not allowed by the definition of diversity. Right? And they come up with these care programs where if you're upset about the political culture currently, if you're upset about anything, you can come talk to them and they'll just listen to you because you're your feelings really do matter. And at that point, all facts get drowned out.
Right.
You know, on my campus last night, and I didn't get to go to this, but I got this secondhand from a lot of the students. They had a diversity meeting where anybody in the school was invited to attend, and it basically turned into a couple of the white kids just virtue signaling, saying how oppressed African Americans and Latinos and Asians must feel on this campus, because the campus is 80% white, but so is the demographic in the local area. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you can't force diversity if like there's no if the culture is not there for it. Like, you can't be like, hey, we need more Latinos or blacks if there's none in the local area that want to attend the school. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Agreed. Yeah, I just, oh man, I can't fathom, right, anybody that, you know, cannot take any sort of criticism and, you know, wanting to always feel protected, right? Because you won't always have that in life. I mean, it's on a basic level, right? You get to why do any of these kids then ever even leave their home, right? I mean, because what you want to feel protected and have your mom and dad there, but most people leave because they want the independence. But obviously and clearly from this new wave of the safe space agenda and all these rooms being built, that they don't want that. They don't want independence.
No.
They want somebody else to care for them. And of course, a lot, you know, that way of thinking then goes down into big government.
Of course.
And social programs and social welfare. But you have to take it upon yourself as an individual to make your life better.
Well, so see, that's the biggest. You just literally, without going too far in depth, you just brought up the biggest thing that divides the nation currently. It's not racism. It's not your political ideology. What truly divides the nation is, do you want the opportunity to succeed, or do you want the guarantee to succeed? And people are going to be like, hey, I want the guarantee. I want the result. I want equality through result. But the problem is that's not how capitalism works. That's not how our society works. And at that point, that's the only way these kids are willing to speak their minds, if they can be guaranteed that everyone's going to agree with them, right? And so that's why you see these kids protesting when like Ben Shapiro or like Milo go to schools. They're protesting because they don't want students to hear the opposite opinion. They want everybody to conform to their thought process.
Well, right. Well, and the problem is when you want these guarantees, that you're not going to get what you want, right? Because you'll be speaking in either generic terms or the group that would be giving you these things, right, is going to leave things very vague. So, for instance, I want to ensure that I have a form of travel to get from point A to point B, right? I mean, so the logical thing would be a vehicle. You know, like, hey, I want to make sure that I want us all to have cars.
Oprah's giving them away, right?
Right. But so just using that as the example, the next thing that you would see is that, yeah, everybody's going to have a car, just with 3 wheels, or missing an engine, right? Or not having your seat belts, or only having the passenger seat, nothing in the back, so you just have a large storage space. So I guess the point that I'm getting at is fine, right? I mean, as you say, you want these guarantees, but you're not getting what you actually want, though, right? Because when we speak of when these individuals speak of guarantees, they want what somebody else has.
Correct.
It doesn't necessarily have to be more wealth, right? They just want something else, but not everybody can get that, right? I mean, let's take away logically and economically, that just can't happen, right? I mean, not everybody can have whatever this, because we just can't make enough of it.
Correct. And not to mention, if everybody has it, it's no longer in demand anyways.
Well, right. But so, yeah, putting those few facts aside is, yeah, you're not going to get though what you what you actually want. And then I don't even know how you can live with yourself if you didn't earn it.
That's true.
To a degree, right? Obviously, of course, there are things that we all, gifts, whatever. But I mean, for the most part, people want to know that
They worked for it.
that they did something for it. I mean, even birthday presents, Christmas presents, or any gift that you would receive from whatever subject it would be, you internally as a person still feel like you had done something to warrant that, right? I mean, if you just gave me a gift tomorrow, I'm going to presume it's because I've been a good friend, or at least I've helped you in some way.
Existence
right?
alone is not enough.
Yeah, I'm not just walking down the street and then I see Billy and he says, "Here, sir, here's a gift." Like, for what? And so, I don't know. And then I don't, me, I don't like accepting things, for people that I don't know, because who knows if it's,
What's attached to it?
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I'm trying to go down that road, but I think I kind of went off into the deep end there a little bit. So I apologize.
I mean, I get it, right? But so what do we do? How do we fix this safe space problem, right? Because you're right. Like, what do we do in this case? Say someone works at a bank, and they just told somebody, "Hey, I cannot give you a loan. Sorry," and then the customer goes ham, and then all of a sudden the person feels like they need a safe space. Do they walk to a back room while the customer's at the desk and hide?
I think with most everything else, I can tie a lot of things back to parenting and the way things used to be. I remember getting my ass beat as a child. Now, I say that somewhat loosely, right, because I really wasn't that bad of a kid. But I remember the belt coming out. Mm-hmm. I remember soap in my mouth, Tabasco being put in my mouth. One time my dad had chased me down the hallway, and basically put my head into the floor once. I mean, he held my head next to the floor and just said,
Teaching you a lesson.
Right. But having that right from within your own home, right, teaches you to be stronger, teaches you right from wrong. It's not the point of the punishment. It's not to leave welts or bruises.
Correct.
Right? Because that's not what my parents did, and that's not what the majority of every other kid that is probably 28 years old, let's just say 30 years old, right, to be safe, 30 years old or older, went through. They went through that type of punishment at home, right, or being disciplined.
Yeah.
They went out and mowed their lawn for an allowance. So now we're going back to what you were just talking about, which you go to the bank, you don't get a loan. Well, they would have learned this concept of do something, get something, right, if they were actually doing chores. But nobody wants to have them do anything anymore because there's somebody else that will give it to them.
For sure.
And right, I don't want to go too far into this next topic, but to me it's the same. It goes down the lines of, we always like to say, not we, but there are individuals that like to say that we would not have individuals working the crops, right? Like if people weren't there. And I say that's BS. If the opportunities are there and we had been raising the kids properly and the money's there, it's going to happen. But everybody thinks that this is going to drive up profits on goods, and I just think that's BS. But that's, sorry, I was going down a rabbit hole I didn't need to go down. All the point that I was trying to get at is when you give somebody an opportunity and you tell them what the reward would be and the punishment or the consequence of not doing said thing,
yeah,
you start teaching them. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and at what point?
But real quick, do you think the structure and discipline has to be there earlier though, before it gets to that point? Because what you're saying is if they know the consequences, they're going to be willing to do what is the incentive, right? And that's human nature. But if you haven't been disciplined growing up, or you haven't come from a structured household, for you may just say, no, that's not how it's going to be, right? Like I could see kids today talking back to their parents, if they weren't disciplined, saying, nope, I understand the consequences and I understand the incentive and I'm not going to apply that. Like I think that's what these kids are. I think they're rejecting what is just within the realm of factuality, and they're trying to create this
Okay.
like fantasy world where they're
Okay.
like, oh yeah, I don't have to do this.
Well, sure, but I can agree with that up to a certain point, and that is a valid point that you made, right? That if you just don't agree with it, period, right, and you continue fighting for what you want, eventually you're going to get it, which is kind of where we are now. But there are critical ages as a child where you have to have dependency, right? So like you end up, shaping, and I'll say by extension forcing, right, the children to at least understand it, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I mean, my dad's like, you're going to learn one way or another, and he'd have his belt out, and he's like,
right.
you're going to learn either physically or you're going to get smart.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah. So okay. So fair enough. The kid says, you said the kids talk back. And see, I will take a step back and say, I don't even know how the kids are talking back, because why is the parent not whooping that ass then?
Because I think we're telling kids now, especially the young parents, right? We're talking like the 22, 24, 28-year-old people that have had kids, like probably Generation Yers, maybe even the late Generation Xers. They're being told you can't discipline your kid. They're being told that physically disciplining them is not going to teach them, right? And I think in some categories, like there's a difference between discipline and abuse, right? But
Of course.
Yeah, of course. But I do think that less and less kids are being structured or disciplined, and I think that is a huge problem. You're right. You brought up working and having your parents like teach you about money. I remember my parents taking me down to Bank of America at like 16, 17, because it's one of the few banks before 18 that you can open a checking account at.
Oh yeah, Bank of America is one of the few banks that caters to illegals. I concur with that.
Well, I mean, that's good. Excluding the illegal concept, I'm saying before 18, you can open up like a checking account. Like before 18, with the parents like consent, you can go and open up a checking account at Bank of America. So for me, like I started working at like 16,
Yeah,
and I was earning money, and my dad's like, "Hey, now's the time to go down to the bank. Let me teach you how the bank works. Let me teach you how to balance your checkbook. Like just those basic concepts." And I'm glad I had that. But I don't know if kids are getting that all the time.
Well, clearly not. I mean, I go back to, if you could be free flowing, essentially, it's the difference between individuals wanting a salary and individuals wanting hourly. And to explain that is, right, hourly, if you're not there, if you're not doing the job, you're not getting paid for it.
Correct.
Right? And that's where like somebody like you, where you and I would fit in. Like, we know we got to go do the job to get paid for it. Salary, mind you, yes, you can work a lot more and you're still getting paid the same. But what I'm trying to get to is that these kids want the salary realm, which is, so what? I didn't go to work today. I know I'm still getting paid the same.
Yeah.
And it's, no, that ain't the way that is not the way it works. I mean, maybe they need to be put into more positions to where something is being taken away from them.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then they'll start realizing, like, whoa, wait just a second. Like, you think you're going to get, this whatever, my gallon of gas or my food, and you didn't do anything, for it? I don't think so. And then we kind of, we start reshaping the culture. And I don't know. I think this all goes back to right. I think the question was, how do we solve it? And I don't know if we can solve it. We can solve it because we were there at one point in life.
Yeah. Well,
but like you said, the root cause, I don't know, man. To me, it's just parenting. So take away regulations such as that are in the state of Washington, California, that you discipline your kid, you can go to jail as a parent. Right?
Yeah.
No. It's as you said, you're not going to hurt the child. We're not trying to have discrimination or talk down upon somebody, but it's building up who you are. It's like your immune system, man. You got to have these impurities thrown into your system. you can build up your white blood cells and fight off bullshit.
You got to become a tank.
Yeah, go lick poop.
I don't want kids to lick poop.
Well, that's a bad example. Go play on the monkey bars and then lick your hands. Right?
Yep. Go eat ice cream.
Yeah. Stop doing whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, yeah, great. You dropped your banana on the floor. Just eat the fucking banana. I mean, heaven forbid it's got a goddamn. You're gonna peel it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, maybe it went through, and whatever. Yada yada yada. It's just look. Unless there's some actual like viral or bacterial fungus
plague
on it, you're good. So, I don't know. I mean, I do know. So I will stand firm and say that I think the root cause is parenting, and parenting has been lax. And this is how we've gotten to where we are now. Because I would say that I could see the change, back when I would have been 17, 18 years old of the culture around within America just changing. Like there were more things being put together, right? We kind of talked about parking spaces and so forth. You could see small things that I can start recalling now. And those are the kids then, right? If I go back 18 years ago, then these are the kids now that are where we are growing up saying, give me my little teddy bear to sleep with in school.
No, I think people are treating kids like they're delicate flowers, right? First off, kids are super resilient, right?
Yeah.
You fall off the fucking monkey bars and you break your arm, that shit heals.
Yeah.
Maybe even stronger than it did before.
It should, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or in the future, we'll give you robot arms. TJ needs a robot arm.
Yeah. Damn it. Yeah, you want to be a flower man? Roses have thorns. You got to get some thorns on your system, but roses are beautiful. It's just, I don't know. I hate it. I just hate it. I hate the fact of potentially me getting in trouble just for expressing my own First Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. That's what really pisses me off. And I think we kind of said this in the beginning. You want to go do whatever you want? Fine. I don't really care. But don't stop me from doing what I want to do then. Don't make me conform to it. But you are bullying me into your bullshit. And I should be able to say whatever I want. I don't know how anybody gets upset about the fact that if I'm talking to whatever person Z in my office,
mm-hmm.
and I say to them that you are a fat, slobby, stinky piece of trash.
We know a few.
But somebody's gonna walk by and say that offended me. First off, I wasn't talking to you. Number one.
Yep. Number
two, I don't know why that offends you. And I mean, I'm going to presume that if I was told that whoever walked by was probably a fat, stinky. What was the third thing I said?
You just call them a piece of shit at this point.
Yeah, they're probably also a piece of shit. So they get upset, and it's like, get out of here. Like I don't. But I have to be careful with what I say now,
dude.
And again, it's like I said, there is a limit, right? Again, if I sit here and say that, oh man, I can't wait to go kill this person off in the parking lot,
that's not good.
Oh yeah, obviously I expect that's going to be stated, or rape, yada yada yada, right? Obviously, that's it's huge within every sector that we are in right now, right?
Yep.
I mean, civilian, military. I guess that's the only two sectors we got.
No. I mean, there's public, private, and then
yeah. But yeah, so you can't. I mean, you have to be careful with just every single thing that you do. I mean, right? I mean, heaven forbid I go to tap somebody on their shoulder, just say, "Hey, good job, man." And now it's. I mean, you have to ask for permission before you do anything, right? I mean, even with you, right? I could make an argument that if I could come tap your shoulder saying, "Hey, good job, Rich," thanks for getting that done, then you say, Well, I didn't feel safe. I mean, A, he was too close to me. It felt like really, you know, it wasn't really a pat on the back. It was more like a hit.
I felt like something pricked me from my butt. You know?
Yeah, and it's like, oh my, heaven forbid, right? And that's just you coming from a guy. I mean, heaven forbid if you're actually, you know, a girl, then I mean, now it's just it's magnified. Like, yep, I think he was just trying to cop a feel on your fucking shoulder blade, right? I mean, look, I'm not dealing with this bullshit of well, you know, some people have like, you know, fetishes. Get the fuck out of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you essentially have, I'll just say three spots that you should not be touching on a female, right? Which is, and I'm just gonna go lips, breasts, and then I'll just say pelvic region, all right, front and back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But anything, and of course, yeah, I get it. Well, what about inner thigh? All right, yeah. But my point being, okay, so what, right? I mean,
what about looking at her the wrong way at this point? Because now you can get in trouble just for staring.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, staring shouldn't be a problem. Obviously, if you're sitting there, you know, like licking your lips and, you know, like biting your tongue, right, and you know, like, I'm gonna just get.
Oh my God.
Of course, but you see my point. It's like just let it be. You know, I mean, look, women, if you're feeling threatened that way, grab your car keys. You know, put them in between your fingers, and just be ready to slug on them if they come next to you. Then
that's a good move,
right? Be an adult and just let things happen. Like, you're gonna be dealing with this stuff all the time. What happens when you're not protected, right? Because eventually you won't be in college.
Yeah.
You will be out in the workforce, or you're gonna be somewhere, and you're gonna have to deal with it, right? Like, it's going to come. There is evil, and these people must know there's evil because they're trying to. Right, be protected from it. But how long? How long do you become protected?
No, I get it, dude. You know, I got a quick story. Here's like a little 1-minute clip story. I used to date this chick named Jessica back in the end of like 2012, right? And I don't remember if you ever met her. You just got here. She was like this little short Mexican chick that lived out
in 2011.
In 2012.
I got here in 2013.
Okay, so maybe it was right before you got here. I only dated her for like 3 months, but chick from Woodland, cool, right? Met her online, chill.
Woodland, yeah.
Woodland, not too far, just west of Sacramento. She was a vegan, right? So for me, I am not a vegan. I love eating meat. It's delicious. So initially, I was like,
"Can you tell for the listeners, explain the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian?"
So a vegetarian will eat fish, for instance, right? Because you have like, you can eat fish,
yeah.
And they'll eat like other animal byproduct. They just don't eat meat if you're vegetarian, right?
Yeah, but isn't that the other one? What's the one that starts with like a P, like that?
So pescatarian.
Yeah.
So there's vegetarian and pescatarian. Vegetarian. Okay, yeah, you're right. Vegetarian eats no meat, right? But they will eat they will drink milk. They'll eat they'll take some of the animal byproduct. They just don't want to know that they're eating like dead animal, right? Okay. Pescatarian means they'll eat fish, but they won't eat anything else outside of that when it comes to animal, right?
Okay.
And then vegan is you take nothing from the animal, no byproduct of the animal, because the animal cannot consent to it.
Okay.
Right. So
no
she was
eggs, nothing.
Nothing. Right.
All right.
So she
Missing
was.
out.
She was vegan. Right. And when we first started dating, I was like, hey, I like eating like chicken, burgers, etc. I'm not going to get on you for not. Just don't fucking press, your thought process on me.
Yeah.
Dude, like a month later, I'm eating this big ass fucking bacon cheeseburger. Delicious. Absolutely. Like,
sick.
Excellent. And she's like, I'm just amazed that you can eat that. It smells so good, but, you don't even worry about the animal. It's not even on your mind. And that's when I knew. I was like, yep. I'm like, I've only been seeing this chick for like a month and a half. This shit's probably not going to work. I looked at her and I was like, you know what? I love eating this burger. I would have killed this cow myself. And then I would have grounded the meat and then I would have grilled it myself and ate it if I could. But
that's what's needed.
But that's what I'm saying. And she was like super offended that I said that. Like, just set her off. That was the initial time I had seen someone just get triggered. Anyways, yeah, just quick story. I thought it would be funny. Maybe.
I'm looking at all these birds out here on this tree, man. I just want to start taking them out one by one. Look at all these birds, man.
I know.
I mean,
that's like a whole family. Like shotgun, you're easily killing like 5 birds
at least. But yeah, so it goes. It's getting people back to their roots of what you would have to do to survive, and you would never have any of this right back in what the late 1700s, early 1800s. You wouldn't have this. I mean, you had to the only thing you were killing was these meat animals. So if you wanted to live, you had to live. We didn't have this processing of food and genetically engineering what we have out there.
Yeah.
Right, for vitamins and so forth. There was you got your stuff from the animal that you killed.
Yeah, I think the earliest movement for it, I mean, let me say this, like obviously like people that are Indian or Hindu, they don't eat like most of this stuff, right? They'll eat, I think, chicken and fish, but they won't eat like cow, right?
Yeah.
But as far as like full on like vegan movement, I think is like the early 20th century, 1900s, right? Because prior, you're right, you'd fucking die. Without being able to take animal byproduct, you'd be fucked.
Right. Yeah, that's and these are the things I don't understand, man. Yeah, I would have dropped her too.
Yeah, she was all right. I mean, she was a cool chick, but she was just weird.
I cooked almost 4 pounds of tri-tip like 2 weekends ago.
How was that?
Great. Phenomenal.
Cow's delicious.
Some were glazed, others were marinated. I mean, injected with a marinade. I'd used some different ways to like prep them before, like brining and so forth. It was good.
Even lamb, dude. They're cute and cuddly. I'll pet a lamb. I'll still cut it up and cook it.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's there for what's it there for? Was it there for food?
Yeah. I mean, some are for other things, but yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like you, as a person, right? It's knowing what you're going to be doing with that item.
Correct.
And that's why I want to say item, because there are kids. Look, if I had a potbelly pig as a pet, there's no way when it died I'm going to eat it. Right?
Correct. Correct.
That's what I'm saying. So, but when you're just raising hog, right, or you're raising lamb and cows, you ain't friendly with them, right? You ain't. I mean, no. It's give me my damn milk for the cow, right? And then eat your shit so I can kill you later, because I need to eat. It's a circle. It's a cycle of life. The circle of life. Old Sean loves playing these Disney movies, man.
I bet.
Or songs. It's crazy.
He's not a safe space kid, is he?
I don't think so.
You never know with him. He's trying to get him in here.
Sean's not a safe space kind of guy. He is a let everybody do what they want kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had this discussion with him. I said, that's fine. I can live with that. I just want those individuals, though, to have to deal with the repercussions if they do anything that would be going against a civilized society. I.e., you want to do acid? You want to do shrooms? I don't care. I don't care what you do. You can do that in your own house. Hell, you can go drive if you want to.
I can't agree with that one.
Well, but my point being is, though, if you cause, of course, right, you're running into killing somebody, but if anything were to happen, right, that person is solely responsible.
Of course.
For everything. There's no bail, right? I mean, if you can't afford it, then right, you're going to continue going to your job, but then on the weekend, on the weekends you'll be doing community service. Like we'll get it out of you.
Yeah.
Unless it's obviously a punishable offense by jail time, yada yada yada.
Or death.
But otherwise, that's he's able to at least reason with me on that one, right?
Yeah.
Which is because yeah, do whatever you want, man. I don't care. So, yeah, we've been going on just about an hour for this episode. Went off on a few tangents about safe spaces, on how someone got started, what's the root causes of it, how could we solve it, and I think we gave some at least good information and some funny points. I shouldn't say funny points. We gave some good information,
entertaining points,
and some things for our listening audience to ponder. On what they think, safe spaces are. Because a lot of this is, right, within the episode, we're not going to be able to cover everything. We never will, but it's to help, get people just to think about it and say, yeah or no. And if you agree or disagree, let us know on Facebook or right through Instagram.
Check out the new Instagram,
yeah. So that was safe spaces. Do you have any closing thoughts on that subject?
Yeah, so on the subject, closing thoughts. If there's a speaker at your school and you do not agree with he or she.
Not an audio speaker, but a person.
A person, correct. Keynote speaker.
Keynote.
If you don't agree with them, you can go protest outside, But if you don't want to fucking hear it, don't go in the building, right? If you're watching a movie,
Peacefully protest.
peacefully protest. If you're watching a movie and you already know that this movie is going to offend you, don't go and watch the movie, okay?
Right.
If there's music playing and you do not like the music or agree with the words, don't listen to the song. Like, you don't have to if you don't want to, but
Right.
don't make me conform to you, all right? Because for one, you're going to lose every single time because I don't give a shit, all right? And lastly, be reasonable, listen to people. Like, seriously, now I'm going to counter what I just said. Listen to the opposite ideology and decide for yourself if you're right or wrong.
Yeah. I agree with that. I got nothing else to add, man. You said it perfectly there. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. As we just mentioned, we are on Instagram now, and it should just be Your Views, My Facts.
Correct.
Is how to find our actual account, but of course you can hashtag then YVMF.
Correct.
Right, or you can just hashtag Your Views, My Facts or whatever. But we just recently started that, so we're trying to get it up, get it going. Right, I obviously try to throw some photos on there in our upcoming episodes of what we're doing and who we're podcasting with. And
Material coming out soon, clothing and such. You'll see us sporting it. If you like it, eventually it'll be for sale.
Eventually.
Right.
So Instagram. Otherwise, Facebook then is at Your Views, My Facts. So you can just find it on Facebook. Send us a message on there. We got both the page and the group.
Correct.
Recommend that members actually go to the group because you can see more updates because the way that Facebook runs their bullshit. But it is what it is, and still get some videos published on YouTube. So, Rich, as always, it's been a pleasure, man.
Of course, man.
And I look forward to getting your check to help upgrade the studio here soon enough.
I thought we were just going to tax the people we work with.
Oh, we can do that too.
Okay.
I mean, or maybe we can make a GoFundMe page.
You know what? That's good. It just say like that. You know, like you're really hurt with life, and this is like your stress reliever.
Yeah, I need this to be my safe space.
Yeah, the
den. I want this entitled to, but yeah,
the den is your safe space.
It's my safe space. Yeah, so I need it to be everything and more that I could ever want. But fact checkers, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to all previous episodes. If you're a new listener, it's been much appreciated. And don't forget to tell a friend about us as well. We look forward to you listening in next time.
Yeah.
So,
call-in feature. Let us know if you want to call in.
Yeah, if you got anything specific you want to talk about, that's why you got to get on that Instagram or that
Facebook
or
Little
Facebook.
FB.
Yep. And let us know, and we will. If you got something critical, we'll get you on. So,
hashtag We Want Urs. If you guys want to hear Ursula before she leaves for Korea.
Yeah.
Hashtag We Want Urs.
We want we want URS.
I like that. Yeah, we want URS.
Yeah, we want URS.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, again, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. This has been Thomas, John, and Rich coming at you from the den with Your Views and My Facts. Take care, everybody.